Look closely. History taught us to recognize genocide in its visible forms: guns, camps, machetes. But today, the deadliest form of genocide leaves no smoke, no graves, no sirens. It is quiet. It is systemic. It is when nations begin to feed on their own people. This is not hyperbole. This is diagnosis. We see it in economies that trap families in generational debt. OECD data shows household debt in advanced nations soaring past 150% of income. That is not stability, it is suffocation. We see it in emotional starvation. The WHO reports global anxiety and depression cases doubled in 2 decades. And yet most governments still spend less than 2% of their health budgets on mental health. That is not oversight, it is systemic neglect. We see it in institutions that cannibalize instead of protect. Healthcare that bankrupts. Education that indebts. Justice that entraps. Systems built to serve, consuming the very lives they were meant to sustain. This is genocide without blood. The erasure of humanity's interior. The corrosion of resilience, trust, and hope. Democracies falter because trust collapses. Generations inherit trauma coded into their DNA. Economies bleed. Deloitte estimates over $1 trillion in productivity lost annually to burnout. This is the real silent genocide. Not fought in trenches, but in workplaces, homes, and exhausted minds. But there is another way. At Harbour of Mercy, we say, emotional infrastructure is national infrastructure. Just as roads carry goods, the soul carries nations. That is why we are building soul spa, civic rest, and emotional first aid. The Manna Hub, a framework for food dignity and cultural belonging. We See You, an advocacy and empowerment initiative that reframes visibility as civil infrastructure and global platforms that measure emotional capital, exposing neglect before collapse. This is not charity. This is survival architecture. Leaders, hear this. A budget that builds weapons but starves souls is complicit. A system that mortgages generations for short-term growth is complicit. A government that normalizes despair while celebrating GDP is complicit. The true measure of civilization is simple. Does it nourish its people or consume them? The silent genocide is here. But silence is no longer an option. We must build systems that sustain life. We must protect dignity as fiercely as we protect borders. We must invest in emotional infrastructure as deliberately as we invest in roads, hospitals, and armies. Because the choice is not between action and inaction. It is between life and slow, silent self-destruction. Harbour of Mercy, no soul wasted. Mercy still speaks.